Members of the head table, all protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And I'm very sorry that I arrived at this time. But we were in the middle of a meeting with China Jiangsu. That is the company that is overseeing the construction of our Tamina complex, which is a very large project, very costly, and will be at the heart of driving entrepreneurship and innovation in Trinidad and Tobago. So I could not leave that meeting early at all because Mr. Ying Dan joined us by video conference from China, and his representative here, Mr. Pan, joined us along with the project managers and other people. So I have a short paper here, which I will not read from because I think you have heard enough for the morning. But what I would like to simply reiterate is the mission of the University of Trinidad and Tobago. So I will not be saying anything from on the script. I am speaking straight off the top of my head. The mission of the University of Trinidad and Tobago is very simple. It says to be an entrepreneurial university designed to discover and develop entrepreneurs, commercialize research and development, and spawn companies for wealth generation and sustainable job creation. That is a very big mantra. And we are actually living this mission because if you notice, we are radically different from the University of the West Indies. We are radically different in our structure from the traditional university established within a German tradition of what a university looks like. So there are no faculties, there are no deans, there are no heads of departments. What we have is a series of campuses that are clustered around critical questions that will reposition the economy of Trinidad and Tobago. So in Point Lisas, we have an energy campus. And in that campus, we are focusing all our energy on not only oil and gas, but photovoltaic energy, wind energy. We have one PhD student who is actually mapping for the first time wind patterns around Trinidad and Tobago. There's no published study anywhere in the world on this. No scientist has ever published any work on wind patterns around Trinidad and Tobago. And the outcome of that work will impact upon where we position fields of windmills to drive to produce energy from wind in places like Tobago and other places like that. So we are actually living what it is to be an entrepreneurial university. And an entrepreneurial university is not a new thing because the University of Cambridge is an entrepreneurial university. And they are able to do that because they have the sheer firepower of professors and students. And they would commercialize the IP of the students and the staff. And we are doing that exact same thing because we are going to set up our graduating class in fashion in business. So we are taking some equity. We have the building, and we are putting them inside of there. We're importing the cloth from India. We're cutting, we're designing, cutting, making the first dress or shirt. And then we even hope that we'll be able to mount a program for stitchers. Because the idea was to send the initial design to Costa Rica, mass produce in Costa Rica, and then bring it back to Trinidad. But then why do that? Maybe we should have a program for stitchers so that people can stitch at a very high level of performance and accuracy. If you look at the cuff of your shirt or any garment that you have, and you will notice the precision in the stitching. So maybe we need to get stitching up to that level in Trinidad. But then you would say, what do you do with all these stitchers? Then maybe we'd be able to manufacture all the costumes in Trinidad for Carnival rather than import them from China. So we are living the entrepreneurial university model. And so you find in our marine campus, we are asking specific questions there. And in the city of Port of Spain, we have the John Donaldson and this building where we are focusing on all of our creative industries, fashion, film, animation, and these are big new markets. If you notice the structure of the internet, by 2015 we will have enough servers and routers internationally for the internet to move seamlessly and continuously as though it was a film. So you wouldn't have to load a 10-minute clip onto Google. Or if you had a 20-minute clip, you have to break it into 2 parts. The internet will be moving continuously, streaming content like that. And when you watch something on the internet like that, the option will come up if you are seeing an actor or an actress in a particular garment, the option will be there for you to buy that off eBay or some site. So you'll be participating as you view. Those futures are the kinds of futures we are preparing people for at the University of Trinidad and Tobago. That's why we are focusing on things like fashion and film and animation. And people might think if you focus on fashion, that is not a cognitive activity. But you will change your mind the minute you sit down to have a cup of coffee with Karl Lagerfeld. When he begins to speak to you, you understand how cognitive fashion is. Or if you should stop to have a cup of tea with Calvin Klein in New York, you will understand how elegant their minds are. So fashion is a cognitive activity. So we are doing this type of work at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, and it says here to be an entrepreneurial university designed to discover and develop entrepreneurs. So we are constantly looking for entrepreneurs. And I told the graduating fashion class, you're not going to look for a job when you leave here. We're going to set you up in business. So the fashion business will be our first spin-off company. So UTT will have some share capital inside of there, and we are going to start our first spin-off company with fashion. Commercialized research and development. Recently, some of our students worked on a small project in Unilever, looking at their sludge and soapy water. It was their final design project. And the way we teach engineering is very different from at UE, because you have to spend, if you're going into the MASC, you spend an entire year doing a design project. Professor Thompson knows all about this very well because she was at the heart of design and all of these things. When the students solved the problem at Unilever, the executive at Unilever, they told them that the solution was so good that Unilever will now migrate the process and the solution to all Unilever factories around the world. That's the type of student we are producing at the University of Trinidad and Tobago. So we want to commercialize our research and our development. We want to spawn companies like our new fashion company that will open very soon. And down in our Waterloo campus, Professor Thompson knows that we have a proposal right now before the EU on our recent work on extra virgin coconut oil, which is coconut oil that is clearer than water. It doesn't get milky because we have developed a process to extract that oil out of that coconut without you driving the oil with heat. And that oil has the same structure as the fat in your skin. So when you rub that oil on your skin, there's no greasiness. And when you mix that oil with a bit of oil that we'll extract from the Lady of the Night, the flower you're all familiar with when you drive through Federation Park, which is a base flower for all Chanel perfumes, when we mix that oil into our extra virgin coconut oil, you have a very elegant body rub. So this is what UTT is all about, and we are happy to be here, and we want to partner with all of you and all the other stakeholders to carry IP to the market. And that's a big difference between UWI and UTT. We are really living this mantra to be an entrepreneurial university designed to discover and develop entrepreneurs, commercialize research and development, and spawn companies for wealth generation and sustainable job creation. Very soon, we would ask people who are applying for master's degrees not just to fill out an application form to come to the university, but to send one page on the idea for the business. And when you leave, we want to say on graduation night, this is Mary Jane, and her company now has X amount of dollars in share capital. We want to encourage our students to engage in the junior market, to raise capital, and to demystify all the processes around the junior market, that you don't lose control over your company, and all these other kinds of things. These are the kinds of activities we are doing inside of the University of Trinidad and Tobago. And we are happy to be here this morning. I am sorry I am late, but Tamina is a significant investment, very large investment, and a very difficult project. I could not leave. I had to carry the discussion forward and give the government of China some assurance that the president of the university is paying attention and committed to the completion of the Tamina complex. So thank you very much. Thank you for your patience, and I wish all of you the best. Thank you. Good morning.